Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one, out here in the garage today, and I come across a package of these angle brackets. 6 foot lengths, I think there was like 8 of them, right? I've got these well over 10 years, and I hated to throw them out. I said, I gotta find a use for these. So I went to Canadian Tire, bought some bits and pieces, and built that. Stick around. Well, what do we have here? I got some cheap furnace filters, 20 by 20. I got an old box fan. I paid $36 for that, Canadian Tire. I got both this Canadian Tire. All this together was like $59. So, like, I looked online and, like, this was local. I could buy all this local. You might get stuff cheaper, but I went with these filters. I bought these filters for the simple fact that they're cheap, okay? And I have, right here, a package of angle brackets that were belong to a locker system or whatever. I picked up a bunch of steel a number of years ago. I'm willing to say this is over 10 years old for sure. And this was in amongst it all. And if you're familiar with my other channel, I use a lot of recycled steel, and I collect a lot of shelving, locker doors, all that type of stuff for building stuff from, okay? Because the steel's not that cheap anymore. Then you're wondering what I'm going at with all this here. What I got in my head here now is I've been working in this garage now for a couple of years, and the biggest problem I got in the winter time is dust and dirt, okay? I do a lot of grinding, a lot of sanding and welding as well. The problem I got is the garage fills up with dust and dirt, and it just lingers. This garage is well insulated all the way around, and like this top is insulated, lots of insulation. I live in a climate where it's extremely cold in the wintertime. I wouldn't say extremely cold, but compared to some places, but we have cold winters. The problem I got is I do have a fan right here. I can open up that door, turn on the fan, and it'll suck every bit of dirt and dust out of the garage. The problem with it is that needs an inlet. I got to open something up, either open up one of my garage doors or my man door over here, open one of them up to let the air circulate in the garage. When that happens, it sucks all the cold air out of the shop. It gets annoying after a while because it takes a while for a place to heat up and you're working in a comfortable environment. So I said to myself, I got to find a better way that I can actually have the air in here cleaner. So I went online and started looking around at different ideas and stuff like that. And I noticed a lot of the woodworking guys are building these boxes and putting box fans on them. And they're using them for dust collection. And this is what I got in my mind here now. I'm going to try this out here and see what it works for in a metal fabrication shop. So I'm going to get started here now. I have an idea. The guys that build these systems always use plywood. Now, I'm a metal guy, so I got it in my head that I'm going to build this all out of this here steel and have it so it's all rigged up in steel. I want to have it so the filters are easy to change. A lot of guys, you can build this system all with duct tape. You can take these here, tape them together, tape them onto that, and you got a system. And then fellas are using bits of wood and taping them onto wood. I want to have this here so these slide into slots. So they're very easy to pull out and change. That way I can, just keep replacing the filters. And I'm going to make it all permanently mounted. I got it in my head. I'm going to mount it right here somewhere on this. I'm going to mount it close to the bench. This is where I do a lot of the work. And I'm going to mount it up there, and I'll mount it permanently to the ceiling there and just run an extension cord to it and plug it in. That's what I have in my head. It might change. I'm not going to hang it from chains or anything like that. I got it in my head. I'm going to screw it right to the roof in the ceiling in the garage, just so there's no dust build up on the top of it. I got it in my head I'm going to use a 4 filtering system in a cube. So one side of the cube will be the fan, and the other side of the cube will be the roof, okay? Both the bottom and 3 sides will be filters, okay? So I'm going to get tearing this out, and I'll start showing you. It's not going to be explaining how I'm going to put this together. It's just a well for me to show you. I have a bunch of these angle brackets, so I'm going to take them out of the plastic and show you what I got. So here's what I got. This is what it is. It's 18 gauge. They're 6-foot lengths. And they look to be 2 inch by 1.5 inches, I think it is. 2 inch, yep, by 1.5 inches, yes. So that's the dimensions of the angle itself. Okay? And it's got a coating and everything on it. What I'm going to do now is I have a few ideas in my head what I want to do, but I'm playing around with my head, and the more I look at it, I get other ideas in my head. I'm doing all this now. I have no real plan. I have an idea. I'm building a box. So I'm going to sit down now and come up with an idea, play around with some stuff, cut up some steel. So here we have it. This is what I come up with. What I got here is I got 4 20-inch pieces, okay? And I got the 4 of them welded together in a square box, okay? What I did is, here I got the other 3 ready to go here. I cut them off 20 inches. And what I did is I took the long length here and I bent it. I'll show you in a minute now. I bent over the top of it to get this lip here, okay? I played around. This is my second attempt at this here. My first one was right here. I played around with being real fancy and having 45s up in the corner. What I noticed, everything was hooked in here, okay? And it was hard to get the filter to slide in and out, and I needed something for this filter to slide straight in this way here. So this is the way I have the corners done. This here is overlapped into this one here, and this one shoved inside of it. And I just trimmed off the top corners just so that the length would stay the same. What I got done, and this one here, I played around with. What I did is I had this piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and I had a yardstick laid on top of it, and I bent it over the top of it. But it was too tight for the filter to slide in. So what I ended up doing, I'll be showing you, is I used 3/4 inch plywood and a piece of, I think it's, 1/8 angle iron here, with that there, and then bent it over that, and that gave me this room here, which was a lot nicer. What I'm building here is, I'm going to build 4 of these, and then I'm going to put them together in a box. I have one end left open. Let's see if I can do this one-handed now. That will just slide in there like so, okay? And that'll be just held in there like that there, and if I ever want to change filters, I can just take the filters out. It's much the same setup as what you'd see on a furnace for the way it's done. But I'll get 4 of them made, and then I'll make a configuration of a box from it and a place that I can have it sort of mount to the ceiling and a spot for the fan to mount to. But what I figured I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and make 4 of these like this here, and they're going to intertangle with each other and weld to each other. And this is what I got to figure out now, is what way I'm going to put all this together to make this all work. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and start building these here, and I'm just going to walk you through, and I'm going to show you the simple process of how I bend them and how I square them up and weld them together. next thing I got to do is I got to open up the ends of this here a small bit so this here will fit up inside there. And all I've been doing with that, using my I-beam, and just hitting it there, which actually widens up the ends of it. It puts your roll, it moves your roll over so you can actually get something in there. Next thing I do, I cut about an eighth of an inch off the engine. I leave the back side alone. I'll leave the back side alone. I do that because this will fit up tighter in between this here now. When I go and put it in there, that'll go in there and fit up tighter in that corner. And I can actually hammer it up so it fits like that there. And this edge here doesn't interfere on the inside. I only got to do that on the tops of both ends. I don't do nothing with this end here. Well, look at that contraption there, look. So, I got this set up here now, so that this here would be the top. I got figured out here now. This is the top. This is the box fan side. You can slide a filter in this way, okay? You can slide a filter in this way. And then, on the back side, a filter will go in this way. And on the bottom, a filter will go in where? One of these sides is open down here, right here. It'll go in on this side here on the bottom. So, like, this is the way this will be set up. It'll be turned around, I'm on you. This will be mounted to the ceiling. The box fan will be mounted here, and then all the rest will be filters. That way it'll be drawn here from pretty well the lower points in the garage and all around the three corners. My plan is to have the fan blowing that way in the garage, okay? Because most of my work I do over on this side here, so I'm going to set it up there and have the fan facing that way, so she draws everything this way here. And then she'll blow the fresh air over in that corner there, and she'll circulate the air. From what I can make of it, like, you know, it's nice to have it so that it can actually circulate around the shop, so that way I got a fan blowing over there. So this is what I got done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to reinforce some of this. You saw me tack welding this together. I never welded nothing solid. I just got it all tacked together until I have everything figured out. Is I'm going to weld it together when I get it figured out what pieces are going where. What I got to do, still got another piece of this stuff left here, and I still have some small pieces here. I also have some other stuff that I can bend up similar to this that I can get 90s out of, because I like to frame up some of this here now to give some support. I got to go out and dig out a couple of shelves that I can use for the top and also for the front. My plan is I'm going to cut a round circle here, so that when the box fan is laid in place, that is only going to draw where the fan is to. It won't be drawn from like the four corners up here. It'll just get hung up in the fan itself. It'll give it a little bit more pressure coming through it, because there's like dead air up in the four corners of a box fan, and all you're drawing air from is where the actual fan is spinning, right? It'll be drawn through there. So I'll put a circle piece of plate there that'll start for that. But what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead now and start fitting this together, setting it all up, and start welding it all up. And I'll bring you back from time to time to show you how I got it done. But you can basically see the way the piece went across and the piece of angle iron mounted there, okay? And then over here, which one is this? This one here is the flat side here. Like, they're all identical, and there's the top there, and then that'll mount on that one there, see? That's the way that goes, and there's the way that goes forward to there, and that's the top of this one here, the back side of this one here. So, like, there's the front, and there's the front of that one, and there's the front of this one. And this one down here then turns up, and the front is here. And that's for the bottom. So, I'm going to go ahead now and get that welded up. And there you have it. I got it all welded together and all welded up. Strong little unit. Just the way it's constructed, put together there with all the angles and everything. But it's extremely light. I don't find it that heavy. All right. So this will be the top. And this is where the box fan will go here. And then the filters will go in here. I just went around, welded the corners on them. All the corners, made sure everything was square. Done diagonal measurements this way and this way here, making sure everything was square. Because I had to put another brace in across here. and I had to put a brace in right here. I had to put this brace in and this brace here in, because for to square up the front of it, get that done. The top is fine, because there's a piece of steel now going to go over the top of that there. And I gotta get another piece of steel. So I gotta get 2 pieces of steel for this now, one for the top, and then one that I can cut a hole in for the front. And then I can turn around and start prepping this all. Inside is all the same way. I'll end up sealing all this up here, right, along these edges here, so I can actually try to keep as much of the air that's passing in here to have to come through the filters. So I'm curious now. I'm trying the filters and that, see what it looks like. Just slid in there right easy. You can see now, just slides in there. I can take them out right easy. Slide another one in there when it comes time to. And they're all going to be accessible from when it's mounted on the ceiling. The bottom one here, that'll just come out from down here. It's resting on the table there now, so. But that'll just come out. There's a bit of strain on that now, it's on the table. But that'll just come out. Oh, there's a bit of strain on that. There we go. Okay, that'll just come out there. There we go. Just got to clean up inside the corners and that, make sure all that's nice and clean. But this is basically the way it's going to look. Like that there. This will be closed in completely, mounted to the ceiling from here. And the box fan will go here. And it will draw air this way. And she'll draw into the box from all different directions. She won't have to from the top because they'll be mounted to the ceiling, but from the bottom and the sides. And she'll draw through here, and hopefully she'll grab all the particles and of the heavy dust and stuff like that, and blow out sensible air. You could probably pick up a better filter. This is just the cheapest filters I get right now in a 1-inch. You know, but for now that's all I'm going to go with, because I don't know how well this is going to work. Because if you look around the shop here now, this is what I'm talking about. Right, you see it in the lights there? I desperately need some filtration in the air here. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go out now. I'm gonna go dig up some steel for the top and a piece for the front, and get that done. So I went out behind the garage, dug out this old shelving here. I didn't want to go cutting up too much of that white sheeting that I got, because I got that for the Toyota. And I turned around and I wanted something that had some sort of support in it, because I'm going to be hanging it from it. This got ribs in it, see? So I turned around now and I got abundance of this stuff out there. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out, I marked it out, 22¼ inches. The top of that is not square. Okay, I might as well show you that. Like, I wanted to have this perfectly square, but when I rigged it all up and done it all, for some reason I'm off because of the way it's shaped. This front face here is where the fan will go, and the back side there is wider than the front. That's it. Like, I sized it all up there. I never measured that. I measured all the side pieces and the bottoms where the fans were going, but this section here in the front, it's off a bit, so that's it, you won't even notice it. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out that piece, and I'm going to lay it on that there, trim it so it fits there, and then I can actually just weld that on, right onto the top side of that, and that'll give me my brace for the top side. So here's what I got done. I've done this off the cuff. I was going to remove these. I was going to put them on the inside, but then I said to myself, no. Keep them there for support. This is what will mount to the ceiling. Some people probably hang from chains and stuff like that. No, I'm just going to screw this right to the ceiling in the garage. I want to get it up as high as I possibly can, and that's what my plan is. This the simplest way I can mount it up there, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, the way this is rigged up here now, I got 16-inch centers in my ceiling, so I'm going to pre-drill holes here, 16-inch centers, so that the screw will go right through this framing here, so that'll give it lots of support, see? So I trimmed it all up, and I cleaned up the panels, and all I'm going to do, I'm just going to weld that on there now. I'm not going to get too fancy with it. Just, I'm trying to get this built in a timely manner, not getting overly carried away with it. So let's get that welded up. So I got it fully welded on. all the way around. I welded all the frames solid right here. So these here had support, every one of them, all the way around. So I got that done. Now I got to move on to doing the front. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a piece of steel out the size of that opening there, the full size of it, and I'm going to cut a circle out of it, about 18.5 inches, so that way it draws right from the fan. It doesn't draw from these four corners. It just slows everything down. You'll get a bit more pressure inside of it if you give it a shroud on the inside, so it'll only draw in one particular area. So I'm going to go dig up some metal now. I'm going to use the white metal I got here. I'm not going to fool around with any more of this. That's 22 gauge, or that's 20 gauge. And all this stuff here is 18 gauge. And the stuff I'm going to make the front out of is 18 gauge. This here is strong because of the structure of it, with the framing and everything on it. So that's going to be good for that. And I got it welded on the inside as well. Okay, so lots of strength there. So now I'm going to go cut a piece of that out and figure out a circle to cut out the middle of it. Piece of metal cut out to the size that I want. Now I got to cut a round circle out of this here. What I did first is I went from corner to corner, drew a diagonal line, and found a center, okay? Then I drilled a 1/8 hole in it. Then I decided how big the hole had to be that I had to cut out of this here. And the number comes up to be 18.25 inches, the diagonal of this here. So what I did then is I took 18.25 divided by 2, which is 9 1/8. I went over and I cut out this piece. I drilled a 1/8 hole here and a 1/8 hole here. They are 9 1/8 of an inch apart. I take my Cleco, put it in the hole. I got a hole in the bench there. I got that done. Now I got a thing for making it. I'll just take this here now, put it down to the hole, and scribe my line all the way around. Get out of my way. Went ahead, went around it a few more times, got a nice line all the way around it now. You can see it. I'm going to cut it out with a grinder now. There you have it. Cut out freehand with a grinder. Well, I made a little jig. Drill a hole in the bench, just so the cleco can hold place, that way you can spin it. Okay. Now I got a nice even hole. I'll just clean that up now a bit with the grinder. Well, you can do a lot with a grinder when you put your mind to it. So I got them all trimmed out. Got them out of my way, so it's a full circle there now, and I got it centered up again and got it set up. I went and figured out where the center was to in the fan, and I realized this here goes to the top edge of the fan. And this is how I figured out to make sure this is centered, is to set this up so that I knew where it's set to on the fan itself. So I set this up this way here, so it's the same distance here, because that's the way it looks like on the fan. This is flush to the top of the fan, and the bottom is flush to the bottom of the fan. So I'm going to go ahead now and get that welded on. So I went ahead, got all that welded up. Never got fussy with it. I just run little passes on it. And then I turn around, I had to fit the fan, and the fan got an extension cord, so I had to notch this out here. Then I had to find a spot for it to pass down through the bottom of it, which is right here. And I got a plug that I'm going to put in there. That's going to go around the cable when it gets it mounted. And that'll snap in there, and I'll put a bit of seam sealer or something around it. Went through my collection of plugs, the bin, and I made this one up. Got a hole in the middle. I had to cut it in half in order to get it to fit over the thing. With that, it'll fit down the hole, and the plug will fit through the hole itself. In the bottom of it, gotta make it that big, because I got to get that fit through the hole, see? So I'll get that all ironed out now, and I've got to mount this next. So I'm just going to run tabs off the side of it, have it so that I can screw it onto the sides of this here to mount that. So there, I got 3 tabs. This is the bottom and this is the top, so when you lay it down, you really don't need nothing on the top. And it doesn't fit, because the way this is designed here, it'll be hard to get a screw and everything in it. But I'm not worried about it. 3 sides will hold it. So I got tab there, and tab there, and it fits in there nice and snug. One last thing I want to do is I want to get as much out of this as I possibly can. All this here is restrictive, okay? All this plastic here. This framing come down to the middle, that's to hold the motor in place, that's fine. But what I'm going to do, this is mounted on the inside of the box, and you're not going to see it. I'm going to leave the outside one out, but I'm going to cut all this, just going to run the grinder now, cut all this section here out of the way, so that there's no restriction pulling on the fan itself. Because this here, like everything got to pass through this section here, the ear and everything, so I'm just looking at the whole point. I'm just trying to get the most efficiency I can out of that fan as I possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead now and just cut all this old plastic lipping out of the way. I'm not going to interfere with none of this, because all this is the way this is put together. Just by cutting this fan out, it's not going to make it any weaker. It's because this is a steel bar that goes up through here, and it's just mounted. It's mounted on the bottom, it's mounted on the top. But I'm going to leave all that there, and I'm just going to cut the fan sections out of the way. Got that all cut out. You ever hear that saying, look before, or dial before you dig? Well, I tell you, I should look before I cut. I chopped off the cord there, and I cut it off up here. I started sizing this up, and there was no need of it there, because it's all mounted on the bottom and the top. That was just floating there, so I said, nope, get clear of it. And I ended up cutting through the wires. I've been electrical work to do. Minor. I'll fix all that up there now. It'll be brand new. A couple of connectors on that. Brand new. Up here, just have a close look at that there, and tape up. Or put connectors on that. That'll be brand new. That's it. But anyway, that's all that cut out of the way. I'm doing that because I'm trying to eliminate too much restriction on the fan. I want the fan to pull as much as it possibly can. So anyway, I get this all fixed up now. Brand new. Got her all fixed up. And I tried her. She works best kind. I got the piece all cut out the back of it. That way it gets better flow going through it. Since now that I got that done, that can be mounted. Next thing I'm going to do now is this is finished. But I want to prep it now, give it a quick clean up. I'm not going to get carried away with this. I'm not bothering to paint none of the inside. I might give it a dart, I don't know. But my biggest thing is I'm going to paint the outside of it because you can actually see the framing of it. I'll give that a quick flick. And I'm going to seam seal the top and the bottom in around here with seam sealer. All I'm going to use is what I got here, brushable seam sealer. I'm just going to brush that in around the edges there. And on top, just seal it off, and anywhere where I think the air might pass through other than the filters. And then I went through my collection of spray paints, and I found a half decent can of Duplicolor cast iron. So I'll just do the outside of that as a satin finish on it, so that'll be perfect for me. Just clean it up a bit. I'm not getting carried away with it. You can really get overboard with this. This is just a quick little project, and just going to make it look presentable looking. It's inside the shop. So I want to get this all prepped now, give this a quick sanding, and get that seam sealed, and get it painted. So I got it all painted up, nothing fancy. I never got carried away with this. You could spend a lot of hours prepping this and priming it and painting it and doing all kinds of fancy stuff. I got this as a purpose. I'm looking to clean the dirt in the garage, trying to make the air nicer. So I don't want to get too hung up with spending hours upon hours on getting this prepped. All I done is I just cleaned it up, scuffed it off, and I just done a spray bomb on the outside edge of it. Never painted the inside of it because that's going to be roughness on the outside. I got it all seam sealed inside, all the bottom sides up here, everywhere where the air can actually come in through other end of filters, I got sealed up. So now all I got left to do now is I can start assembling this and mount this on the ceiling. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to put a sealer on this here, all around this outer edge here, so I can actually seal that off onto this here when I screws it in place through these tabs here. So this is all I used. It's like a gum type of material. It's sticky on both sides, and we use that a lot in the automotive industry for like in around doors, for putting the papers on, like to hold the inner structure. There's a paper liner that goes on the inside of the cars and it's kept down with this stuff here. It's much similar to the butyl tape that they use around windows and stuff like that, but it's only a thinner version of it. So I just put that around that there now, and all I got to do is peel off this bit of paper here, and that there will be sticky, and that'll stick to the box itself. So I got all that done. Let's get that installed. So I went ahead and got that all mounted on, screwed on in place. Down here, I ran the cable through the bottom of it, put the plug in the floor. I put a clamp on it here, and I put a clamp on the inside as well to hold this in place, so if you ever pulls on this, you're not pulling on the plug itself. Then I went ahead, and my strapping on my ceiling is 16-inch centers, okay? So I got holes drilled here on the four corners, 16-inch centers from here to here. Okay, so this will go up here and mount on this here. Over here, I just got regular 3-inch decking screws, and I got interior washers, just so there's a washer on it with a tapered head. Okay, I'll put them on there. That's what I'm talking about there. You see these a lot of interior pieces. I have an abundance of junk kicking around. I have little bins of everything. But I got four of them washers. That's how I'm going to mount that to the ceiling. That's going to come up through there and come out through there. And it comes out pretty well that much. So there's lots of bite there, and these here will give it strength to hold to the roof. So I'm going to go ahead now and mount that on the ceiling. A bit cagey. Neither bowling or nothing. Would have been better if that was a 2x4 or something. That's all I had. And I made do as long as piece of board I had to put a screw piece of plywood on top of it. I got it up there. I used a strap and got it up there first. I hung it there. Now I use a jack to jack it up in place, and I just move it around, put 4 screws in it. Perfect. There you have it. All mounted up on the ceiling. All up out of the way. I wanted it mounted so it's close to the bench for the simple fact that's where I do a lot of my work. There's a lot of smoke comes up from there and I can actually feed it through there. Now I may have to upgrade this over time. Probably put better filters in it and probably a better box fan. I don't know. This is the cheapest possible way I could do this because I just wanted to see if I can get the thing made and mounted up and whatever. These filters are basically generic. You can buy better ones that you can put in it. I'm going to play around. I have another idea I'm going to use to incorporate these because some of the filters are not cheap. And the box fan, you can probably upgrade that as well to one with a better CFM or whatever it is, right? But I'm going to leave this alone for now and just try it and see what it's all about. I'm going to have to wire it all in with a plug and run it down and plug it into the wall. Right now, I just ran an extension cord to it, plug it into the bench here. The biggest thing with it is in here, it'll move a lot of air too, right? And that's what I'm hoping for that to move a lot of air. And like, you know, hopefully it'll clean everything up. Was a neat little item. Most fellas makes them out of plywood. Probably be a lot easier to make them out of plywood, right? But me, being a fabricator, I had to make it out of steel. And of course I made that all recycled stuff. That steel, I use that on. I've got that here probably 12 years in stock and could never ever find a use for it. And that's a full package of them angle brackets. And I used every one of them on it. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll check back with this later on and see how I made out, if I had to do any upgrades to it, whatever. But it's a simple little project. I figured you guys might enjoy coming along as I made it. Anyway, until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.